Hello, everyone. This is Shantali, and I'm going to talk about what's going on for the solar eclipse for April 8th. And we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. What I focused on is what is the overall meaning of the solar eclipse. The other question I asked was, what does a solar eclipse mean for women entrepreneurs? Because that's who I work with mostly. And what does the week ahead mean for us? Okay, so we'll be answering the next questions with Vedic astrology and also with tarot cards. Let me get to my notes and then we'll jump right into it. Okay. All right. So let me share the first card. The first card is the Five of Scrolls. Okay, it's the Five of Swords. And the second card is Kuthumi, Cloak of Wisdom. And the last one to clarify what's the overall meaning of the solar eclipse for us is the butterfly maiden transformation. You are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. So this card, Kuthumi, right now, he's really, for me, pointing out the Jupiter. Okay, and Jupiter is in Barini, in the nakshatra Barini, in the zodiac sign Aries right now. And Jupiter is important because Jupiter rules Pisces, where the solar eclipse is going to be. Okay, so Jupiter is extremely important. Then we had the transformation, which means a transformation. The nakshatra Barini that Jupiter is in, it represents transformation, but it's transformation in the way of rebirth, a death and rebirth, because it literally it represents the womb and it represents the where we come from when we're birthed. Okay. And this Five of Scrolls, let me get into it. Let me because this is really important, because let me see what I said. I want to make sure I'm saying the right things. Okay, some things you might want to think about during the solar eclipse is how you can start a new beginning with your self-love, with your money, your self-esteem, and your confidence, and with your future and your purpose. The reason I say that is because if we look right here, we see Jupiter and Mercury are going to be together during the solar eclipse, and it's going to be in two houses from the solar eclipse right here. So let me move this out the way. So the solar eclipse is in Pisces. It's the 12th sign right here. And Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, okay, and in the second house. And the second house represents money, which is important because Venus is exalted. Venus is exalted in Pisces. So things that are Venus related are going to be a big deal during this time. And the energy of the solar eclipse lasts from now until 6 months from now. So these things, these Venus related things, are going to be important for us from now until 6 months from now. And we need to be thinking about, how do we need to transform our thoughts about money? How do we need to transform the way we handle money, the way we view money, how we see money, what we do with money? That's going to be important, especially because Jupiter represents finances and wealth, and Venus represents money, and the whole rebirth. It's got to be a new beginning. Also, Venus represents relationships. Venus rules relationships. Okay. And with Venus, like I said, being exalted during this solar eclipse time is going to play a really big part in making sure we're transforming the way that we see relationships, the way that we think about relationships, the way that we are in relationships. Some of us might see that happening already with what they're calling the 4B movement and women choosing to um, not connect with men in the way that they used to. So that's one way that we can actually see it happening in the world around us, the 4B movement, just rethinking how we're doing relationships and what's at the root of how we need to rethink how we do relationships is our self-worth. We need to get down to really reflecting on how we can transform our self-worth, because Venus represents all the self-love, self-confidence, self-worth, all those things. And the second house represents what we value and our value, what we have, our value. Okay. So that's something that is what's at the root of things we really need to work on transforming, and something that we can look at to kind of gauge and kind of reflect on what is it that we need to transform when it comes to Venus and second house related things. It is, we can reflect on the year 2017. This is I'm sorry, I was sick, so I'm getting over it. But the solar eclipse that time is connected to, that happened in 2017, is connected to this solar eclipse that's happening right now. So that was about 5 years ago. So we need to go back in our mind and think about what was going on with us in 2017. And let me see. I want to say exactly what I wrote down because I don't want to. Okay, how were you defeated? This is the word. This is the word that I use. Um, how were you defeated around 2017, and how did you have transformation from that point in your life till now? And also, how can you continue to transform? Because there's levels of transformation. So you want to reflect on what was going on with your life. That has something to do with Venus related things. It could have been Venus represents business and relationships, money, self-love, self-esteem, self-confidence, creativity. You need to see what Venus means for you in your chart, what sign it's in, what house it's in, what it means for you, um, where Venus was in your chart during the last solar eclipse, and maybe that could help. But you want to reflect back on that time and see how were you defeated, how did you bounce back, and how can you continue to move forward, okay? And I feel like that has it has a lot to do with what this solar eclipse means for us. Okay, I'm going to move on. Let me see what else. I also, okay, this is the thing too. Now let me go back to this card, Kuthumi, which represents Jupiter, where he is right here. It represents Jupiter, and this is Cloak of Wisdom. You already know the answers you seek. Trust what you know. This has a lot to do with, okay, we can't see it, but aside from Pisces already, where Pisces is in your chart, that's where it's going to be hard for you to kind of see things clearly. Things can be confusing. You might not be able to, you might not be able to, yeah, it's just you're not really being able to see things clearly for what they are. You won't be able to see the truth about some things, depending on your chart. And Neptune, the planet Neptune, kind of has a lot of the same meanings as Pisces, and Neptune is also in Pisces right now. Okay, so what's what's going to be important for us to understand that also the 12th Pisces represents enemies. Okay, Pisces represents enemies. The hidden are hidden enemies. And so what we can do is be honest with ourselves, trust ourselves. And this like I'm going to read it again. It says, cloak of wisdom. You already know the answer you seek. Trust what you know. Trust what you know. Even if, you know, you might not have, cold hard facts, but there's some with the sun and the moon being there, we're going to be enlightened and illuminated on who is for us and who is not, who's going to help us with our future, who's going to help us move forward, and who we need to be clear on who they are. Who do we need to be clear on who they are and what's our next step with them in our lives? Should we what boundaries do we need to put around them in our lives? I'm gonna need to blow my nose. Let me see. Let me pause this real quick. Pause. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't think. So we have that down. The protection from hidden enemies, that and the illumination, that's something that we um might be coming clear on during this solar eclipse. And let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Okay, this is something else. Our enemies might not be people. They could very well be, but for some of us, our enemies could be bad habits. Our enemies could be some things that we're thinking, okay? Because it's going to be a lot of transformation with Mercury. Mercury is retrograde. It's going back into Pisces, and so it's going from a fire sign, Aries, back into a water sign, Pisces. So it's going to be a lot of change and transformation when it comes to our thoughts. Um, and it's very much connected to this new moon, to this solar eclipse. So there's going to be a lot of change and transformation, and we want to make sure that our own thoughts about our future and where we're going are not hindering us from where we need to go. Um, let's see. I believe that was it. So now I'm going to move on to what do we need to know about the week ahead. And I know that from when I was looking at things, it has a lot to do. The week ahead has a lot to do with the sun moving into Aries and becoming exalted, and also Mercury and Saturn are going to be very much conjunct um, this week. All right, so let's get into it. And we're going to start off with the star card reversed, okay? And the star card for me represents Aquarius, and it's reversed because we have Saturn and Mars here and together. So there's some good things about Saturn and Mars that's going to help us get to where we're going, but there's also some not so good things that we need to watch out for. I'm going to start with the not so good things. So Saturn and Mars are both what we call malefic planets, and they are both tamasic planets. They're kind of that their energy can be really heavy. Okay, so with the star card reverse representing a lack of hope, depression, despair, things like that, we want to make sure that we are in an energy starting right now and moving ahead. We're in an energy that is more sattvic, that is light, that it's that it's bright, that it's very high vibrational. We don't want to allow anything to bring us down. We want to stay very high vibrational because there are things that are happening right now in our world, in our personal lives, that can be very transformational, that are changing, and it could make us feel, we could have very, very good reason to feel like we should be depressed, you know, but that's what we want to stay away from. And one way that we're going to be able to fight depression and hopelessness and helplessness and despair and things like that is by taking action, by moving forward. Mars here is really important, because, like I said, the sun is moving into Aries, becoming exalted. So it's going to be really important for us to move forward and take action on whatever is causing us to feel those low vibrational feelings. Let me see what I wrote. Okay, one thing we can be aware of is any conflicts, any depression, any issues we're having, by taking action on creating new structures, because Saturn helps us with structure. Saturn helps us create structure, and Mars helps us to take action. Okay, so we have to take action on building new structures for ourselves and for our lives. Excuse me. And that's really going to help us. What's not going to help us sitting back and doing nothing. That's what's not going to help. So we want to keep moving forward, taking action, creating new lives and new worlds. This is the sun moving into Aries. It's a new beginning. It's a new year. Okay, especially with this solar eclipse, it's new lives for all of us. And with we can't see it right here, but Jupiter is with Uranus, um and it's those planets together is a new awakening, very much a new awakening for us. Okay, so we are definitely creating new structures to get out of anything that makes us feel low vibrational. All right. um Let me see what else I had on my notes. Um, Creating new structures in our life is going to be really important, that you save your energy to take action to heal, and don't exert your energy on arguing or going up against authority. That's right, authority figures. One reason why we're going to have to save our energy is because Mars is 12 houses away from the new moon. Okay, and Mars gives us energy, but if it's in the 12th house where we have losses, where we experience loss, then our energy is going to be restricted, especially with Saturn being here. So Saturn is authority figures, and the sun moving into Aries, a zodiac sign that Mars rules, that represents authority figures as well. So what we want to stay away from is arguments and disagreements, when it comes to authority figures. And what I have noticed, and some of us might not like this, but when it comes to authority figures, it could also mean, if you're a woman, it could also be your husband. And whether you see him as an authority figure or not, it's still going to be related to him. So you want to stay away from arguments with bosses, with anyone who might have authority over you in some way. um just make sure that you are saving your energy for your new beginning, and that's it. Don't waste it on anything else, because it's already low and restricted. Okay. Okay, let me make sure, see if I don't want to miss anything. Let's see. Do not let yourself get down at all. That's going to be the worst thing to do. Okay, I already explained that. Okay, so Saturn is going to be exalted on the 13th, and Mars is going to be conjunct, very much conjunct with Saturn on the 10th. On April 10th, um the Saturn and Mars conjunction, and April 13th, the sun becoming exalted in Aries. Okay, and I believe that was it. Um, and let me show you the cards for that. This is the cards for what I was just talking about, what to expect for the week ahead. Okay. This week, it's very much okay for you to be selfish. And I'm saying that because the moon is starting up. We're starting off on the new moon, and then we're going to be slowly increasing into a waxing moon. But the zodiac signs that the moon is going to be in are like signs where it's important for us to focus on ourselves. Okay, so it's going to be, the moon is going to be in Mars, which represents the self. Then it's going, let's say Mars, I meant Aries, and that represents the self. Then it's going to be going into Taurus, and that represents ourselves and what we have. And, like I said, our money and our confidence and self-esteem and self-worth, and things like that. And then it's going to be in Gemini, and Gemini is us. It focuses on our mind and our communication. Let me see where it ends, because I just wanted to point that out, that it's okay to be selfish right now and just focus on recreating your world and healing yourself. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Yeah. Hold on, John. Son asked questions. Hold on. Let me pause this real quick. Okay. Um, here's the star card reverse, what I was talking about, the losing hope and despair is what we want to stay away from, but we also want to focus on healing. And this is divine healing. Honor your sensitivity, retreat, and to recharge and heal. Your light can support others. So we have to take care of ourselves in order to be able to help other people. Oops, that wasn't supposed to come up. And so it's going to be important because, like, it has a lot to do with Mercury, but more than that, because Mercury does represent healing because it rules Virgo, where Aquarius here, where Mars and Saturn are, also represents healing. Okay, so Mars being in Aries, a sign that Mars rules. Let me hold on. Mercury being in Aries, a sign that Mars rules, um, and Mars being in Aquarius, that represents healing. Whatever we need to heal, we have to take action on that. We have to take action on changing our worlds, creating new structures, and healing. That's important. And this is Freya, bold. Can you see that? Freya, bold. Unleash your adventurous side. Take risks and be daring. This very much represents Mars. Okay, so just like I said, we want to make sure that, I believe that was all I had for the week ahead. But yeah, be selfish, take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. The moon is going to end this week, but being in Gemini right here. And um Gemini is our skills. Gemini is our just as I just want to focus on your mind and your communication. You really want to focus on that. We really want to focus on making sure we're not thinking negatively or speaking negatively, but really focusing on growing ourselves with the moon waxing, starting starting in Pisces and then ending in ending in Gemini this week. This week, we really have to take care of ourselves, work on the transformation of ourselves. Okay. I don't want to keep saying the same thing. So I'm going to move on to the last thing is what do women entrepreneurs, what do women who own their brands need to know about the solar eclipse and the week ahead? I do help women create brand strategies and things like that. So that's why it's really important for me to bring this out. Okay. So what women entrepreneurs and women um have their own brands really need to know it's going to be really important with Mercury retrograding back into Pisces where exalted Venus is, to be thinking about the things that are connected to our business and our brands that are not giving us peace right now. Yeah. It means that we have some choices that we need to make, and these choices are ultimately going to lead us to more peace. Whatever is standing out and giving us a lack of peace, we need to have the courage to let it go, because once we let it go, um, it will help us to have more abundance. And I'll make this clear with the cards. But it could be things that you're doing. It could be relationships that are negatively affecting your business and our brands. And that can also be partnerships that we need to release and let go. And it can also be ideas. So let me show you with these cards here. So this is the Lover's card reversed. Okay. And this is the this helps us to focus on ourselves. Like I said, it's going to be important for us to focus on ourselves. But this is Mother Mary, love and peace. Let go of the need to be right, choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. So we need to choose peace for ourselves and for our business. Okay. And this is Sedna, infinite supply. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. So let me explain why Sedna is important. Sedna is a goddess that represents Venus, and I believe her pantheon is Inuit. Okay. And Venus represents abundance, right? But it also represents relationships. And her story has a lot to do with her and relationships and her father. Her father sold her off to um the story is crazy, but her father sold her off to someone who ended up being an evil crow. And so the person that he sold her off to didn't mean her any good. And also he didn't mean her any good. And she found that out in the end when she was trying to, she fell off a boat, and it was her and her father in the boat. And her father was, uh, he didn't save her. He didn't help her because he was afraid of this magical crow person that was her husband. So he didn't do anything to help her. Instead, when she was hanging on to the boat, and her father beat her fingers off to try to get her to stop hanging on to the boat, because he didn't want anything to do with the trouble that she might be getting into with her husband. So he beat her fingers off, and it forced her to let go and understand that your father, you think he's here to save you, he's not for your best interest at heart, and it's important that you let him go. So her fingers fell off and turned to fish, I believe, but then she was able to become like the queen of the ocean and had all the treasures in the bottom of the ocean. And this is, I don't know if you can really see it. Mm, it's going in and out. You probably can't see it, but it just shows her with abundance and having all the treasures. And her story really is about letting go of things that aren't hurting you, and having the courage to do that, and knowing that once you do, you'll be getting more of what you want, more abundance. So this is the message for women entrepreneurs for the solar eclipse for um and for the week to come. So that is what I have. Hopefully I wasn't rambling too much. I still have my sick brain. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you would like your own reading, let me know. I do all types of readings. And also, if you would like me to help you create your brand strategy with astrology and tarot and my years of experience in creating brand strategies, let me know. And the links for readings and brand strategy will be in the description. So I will talk to you next time.